Hi guys, my name is Philip and you're watching Artists Using Linux. In this video I'll be reviewing the laptop I bought a month ago, and it's the Tuxedo BU1505. I've been using it for a month now for all various tasks I'm doing as an artist. So a little bit of photo editing, a little bit of video editing. I did some audio recording and mixing and some DJing with this thing. So, and I must say that I'm really happy with the size, with the build quality. I'm really happy with how the whole thing is usable the way I use it. But maybe an interesting question, or a good question for you who are new to Linux. The question, why would I even bother trying Linux? If there's a Mac, I can use a Mac, and if there's a PC, I can put Windows on it and it works fine. And of course, there's no perfect solution, and no matter which path you choose, there's always going to be obstacles you need to deal with, and the difference lies in the solutions or the options you can choose how to solve your problems. And I choose Linux because I'm a maker on a low budget. I don't have the money, but I'm willing to learn new tricks to compensate the unpolished and maybe the undiscovered terrain with the innovative to solve my problems. So let's look at this thing close up. It's really thin. It's a thin laptop. I don't know how if you can see this. It has a very small footprint in the thickness. It's almost like I have a calendar A5 size. If you compare it to this, it's really just as thick. So the only place where it goes a little bit up is here with the battery. So it's actually an interesting design. You have the bump in the battery, so when you put the laptop on your table, you get some additional space between the fan, the opening of the fan, and the desk, so more air can flow in. And then when you open your laptop to the full, it gets raised a little bit up as well and adds some additional space. So when you open it up to the full extent it goes, the direction of the screen is exactly towards your eyes, so you don't have to guess how open you want it. You open it all the way, and it feels really natural to work in this position. You know, with the body posture and everything you're doing, this way of doing it, or this solution, is actually something I really like. Whereas on my old laptop, you could go further than this, and then you never knew. You always had to guess or always had to adjust your screen. But with this one, you just open it all the way and it fits perfectly. The design is really plain, it's really simple, and that's what I like about it. It's clean. There's no special features to this whole thing. It has a nice curve here, so the laptop feels designed. It's not like a chunk of metal or a chunk of plastic. It has a nice curve here at the end where the fan goes in, or here where all the various ports are for different things. It does feel a little bit plasticky compared to a aluminum alloy design from Mac, for example, or the new Dell. It feels a little bit plasticky when you push on it with some force. It bends a little bit. So if you're doing, you know, I don't know what you're doing, hitting the thing for some reason, there is, I don't know if you would break it, but it feels as if you would apply a serious amount of force that it could damage the casing. And the casing itself, so with the mousepad and with everything, the mousepad is perfect. I really love the mousepad. The size of it and the feel of the finger and the response of the mouse on the pointer on the screen with what your finger is doing. What I'm having had a little bit of problems was with the clicking of the mouse. It feels really cheap. So what I did is I opened up the back, which is really simple. I'll show you later. Open up the back and put some cloth or some material between the plastic and the open space, so it muffled the clicking sound a little bit and made the force that's pushed against my press a little bit tighter, so I can press harder on the mouse clicking thing and it doesn't feel so cheap anymore. I didn't do this with the power button because I don't use the power button that much, so I don't mind. Because I mostly go to sleep. I just close the lid and it goes to sleep. The keyboard is really nice. The keyboard is something I'm really amazed with. I've been using a lot of keyboards on various laptops, and in the end I decided I would go and buy myself a mechanical keyboard. And because I do a lot of writing extensively and translating and stuff, so I got used to the feeling of the mechanical keyboard, and I really like that clicking sound, and I like the force, or the back force, or whatever you call it, that it pushes back with, and the response time and everything. But since I'm using this laptop and this keyboard, I stopped using the mechanical keyboard because it takes a lot of space for me, and it's not always practical to carry another keyboard around with you, because I am 95% satisfied with how the keyboard responds to what I'm doing. So you can see that the keyboard is finished with a kind of a rubbery substance. So it has a something of that it's not so slippery. So it's not a glossy feeling when you go over with your hands, with your fingers. You can feel the tension between your fingers and what's going on with the keyboard. But it's fair to say that the keyboard is really new, so I don't know how it's gonna go down or how long it's gonna last. But it's really easy to change this keyboard on this laptop, so I'll see how long we're gonna last and what we're gonna do with this. So let's do if you pull it upside down or put it upside down, you can see that the screen springs, or the mechanics of the screen holder is has a little bit of space, so it's not too tight, you know, but it's tight enough that it gives enough back force when you're opening the thing up, that it doesn't fall down on its own. It feels really stable, whatever surface you put it on. You know, you can be really comfortable you know, doing stuff when you're hyped up that it's going to do the job. It happens to me, especially when I'm DJing, and you know, you're doing a lot of live stuff, and you feel the emotion, and you want stuff to be done now. It has to work now. It feels like you can really abuse this laptop a little bit. Okay, so let's see in the back how easy it is to open and access all the components. I don't know if you've ever repaired your laptop, but that on most models I've ever used has been a pain. And this simple layout is just revolutionary for me. You know, you can change the hard disk, you can change the memory, you can change the motherboard, or whatever else you want to add in there. It's not a problem. So I'll show you how easy it is. There's a couple of screws here. You have to unscrew. It goes pretty fast. It's pretty fast. I like 10 or 11 screws. You can skip this part if you want. So let's open it up. Okay, so the whole thing, you have to be careful with this port. It has a RGB port, and you have to be careful because this plastic part or plastic lid goes over the port. So you have to open the laptop on the other side. Let's see if I can manage this without damaging my machine. That'd be fun. That'd be a cool fail video. Alright, using Linux fails 2016. It's not opening up. If I missed a screw or something. My mousepad thing. There. Okay. For some reason it didn't open first time around. So, let's go. Okay, I was wrong. Sorry, I was wrong. My mistake. The RGB port is the one that's open, and the HDMI port is the one that you have to be careful with when opening this thing up. So you have to open it on the other side and then push it. That's why I didn't open on this side. And push it out a little bit so you don't bend or break your port. So if you look at the laptop, everything is laid out right here. So you take off the lid, and everything is at the disposal. So what do I have here? That's a good question. Okay, I have to have my cheat sheet here. Okay, so we obviously have the Ethernet port and the RGB port and the SD card. So we have two USB 2 ports, and then we have two USB 3 ports, audio jacks, microphone in, and earphones out on the motherboard, and the extension obviously goes to the USB ports. So what I bought originally was the 250 gigs of hard disk that's connected via this M2 port directly to the motherboard. So that's kind of, I think, the fastest possible way to access memory on the disk is to have directly connected to the motherboard. So I have two 8 gig ballistics DDR3 RAMs installed in there, and I have a Intel Skylake i7 6500U processor in there. It's a dual core 2.5 to 3.5 gigahertz processor, and so basically you can change anything you want. You can buy new stuff. You can, if you see here, I have an extra port here. That's an M2 port. I think it's M2.3 or something like that. I don't know. the real. I'll have to check it out later. So you can add another hard drive, or you can add another wireless card or whatever you want in here. So there's enough space to build stuff here, to add stuff you want. What I did, I added a solid state disk to my hard drive port because I didn't buy one. So I installed this one, and if you see here, here's the material I used with my mouse clicking thing, that it has a nicer click and a nicer sound. So I put some material between the plastic and the PCB board. Okay, so this is it. This is how it looks. It's easy to close. It's easy to clean. It's easy to change stuff. It's easy to fix. So that's why I'm really impressed with how this laptop is built. You just press it together, click it together, and then add the screws. I'm gonna cut here and skip this part, so you don't have to watch how I screw it back together. Okay, so let's see how it boots. I'm using Ubuntu Linux because of the drivers. It's a fairly new processor, and with Linux, since the community who are making the drivers or building the drivers are doing it in their free time, for free most of the time. The drivers are not always available in all distributions of Linux you would want. But on Ubuntu Linux, the Ubuntu Linux 15.10 that I'm using right now uses a fairly new kernel version. So all of the latest drivers that are written for the Intel processor are already in there. So let's see how it boots up. So press the button, you have a nice Tuxedo boot screen. And yeah, I'm using the Ubuntu with the GNOME 3, and it looks really nice. I'm really satisfied with the layout and how the whole desktop thing works. It's really fast and it's really responsive. So you press on something, pops right up. You can do, for example, if you want. I'm using Ardor for my music, for the recording and for the mixing. So it's really responsive, really fast. It works really simple. It's really easy to set up. There's a lot of people who will help you out with how to do stuff. So I mixed the track. That's the track for my band. I will post it on SoundCloud, and you're gonna have a link on the channel. You can or a video how to use Ardor maybe in the future. But I'm really satisfied with how this laptop feels and looks. If you have any questions on something I maybe missed, or maybe you're interested in some technical details of the laptop that you can't find, and maybe I can help and answer. It's really quiet, it's really fast, it's really responsive to things that I've been doing. So feel free to leave a comment below the video, and please subscribe to my channel. I will try and post something regularly. I do a lot of stuff simultaneously, so I'm doing my best to be frequent with my videos. So thank you for watching, and see you next time.